And it's Saturday, April 4th. Happy Easter, everyone. Recorded live from the English Valley's History Center. Here's Jackie.
This diary was written by Libby Wade. She was my dad's great aunt, and her full name was Mary Elizabeth Claypool Wade. She is 76 years old in 1950. She lives in a house on East Oak Street in North English, Iowa, with her son, Russell. Here is a picture of Libby in her younger years. October 20th, 1950. A little cooler, but still fair and nice. Flossie was in a while this p.m. She has finished at the corn plant, has the day off, brought Barbara to school. Flossie West is on the left in this picture. Flossie is the granddaughter of Lib's cousin Wallace Claypool. Flossie and her 6-year-old daughter, Barbara West, are living in the country north and east of town with her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Millard Fillmore Claypool. Dr. Miller came and gave me my cold shot. Will give me a pneumonia shot next time he comes, November 17th. Dr. L.A. Miller Sr., or Old Doc as we called him in later years, was our town doctor who made house calls. Lib was a good candidate for a house call, as she only rarely leaves her home place due to the troubles she has with her foot. He said many will not be allowed to have baby cases there anymore. A lot of things have to be done according to the law. He speaks very highly of her, said she was very capable. Minnie Zomer was a widowed neighbor who does nursing care. She had been having expectant mothers stay in her home before and after they delivered their babies. Millie stopped in a minute. Her mother is as usual. Her sister Maddie and husband and Mr. and Mrs. Merle Schaff have gone to California a few days ago. Millie Knipfer is a widowed neighbor who lives with her very aged mother. Her mother is Laura Swope, who requires almost constant attention. Millie is able to slip away and visit on her way uptown sometimes. Her sister, Millie's sister, Martha, or Maddie, is married to Ernest Malloy, who was a preacher. The Malloys accompanied Millie's daughter, Laura, and her husband, Merle Schaff, to California. Laura and Merle Schaff were the parents of Doris Prock from South English and her siblings. In the 5 generations picture of Laura Swope's family, we see Laura Swope, Millie Knipfer, Laura Schaff, Doris Brock, and son Bill Brock. Mrs. Wayne Fancher brought her mother, Mrs. Cunningham, up in her car. She was only here a short time when Mary R. came. Shortly after that, George and Alta came. Then Mrs. Bolts, then Elsie Miller. They were not all here at one time. Elsie walked home with Mrs. Cunningham so she would be sure to make it. It is the first time she has been up here since she broke her hip. Lib's house is a beehive of activity today. Since she lives right on the way to town, many folks come to visit. Some from out in the country and some from down the block. Some of today's visitors are Mrs. Wayne Fancher, who was Margaret Fancher and one of the teachers in the junior high school here in North English when I went there. And here is a picture of her husband, Wayne Fancher. He's the second one from the right in this picture. He was also a teacher. Her mother was Mrs. Cunningham, Mrs. Patrick Cunningham, and her first name was Agnes. Mary Rugseger, shown on the back right side of this picture with her late husband Fred, was at Lib's today. As were George and Alta Berry. Alta Berry was Lib's sister-in-law, the sister of her husband Bert Wade. The Berrys lived in the Champion Hill neighborhood east of North English. Also visiting today was Lizzie Geiger Bolts, who is almost 90 years old. And Elsie Miller, shown here with her husband Joe, who farms east of town in the Green Valley area. Football game here tonight, Wellman versus North English. They have always been rivals. George told a story about a man losing a log chain from his wagon. It was out of sight in a crack in the ground. George was referring to the fact that it has been so dry this fall that the ground is starting to crack. October 21st, 1950. A little cooler today. Nice though. Wonderful for drying the corn. Lots of wells are going dry. Some have to haul water for their stock. No electrician yet to hook up the stove. Was to have been here Thursday morning for sure. I talked to Gail. Marion is not so well today. Pain in her head again. Gail Claypool is the wife of Lib's nephew, Roy Claypool. Their daughter, Marion Claypool, is 30 years old and has had a stroke. Her parents took care of Marion for the next 30 years until her death. After dinner, Tracy was in. Hattie had Jenny H. stop to get one of my hot pads for a pattern. Tracy Wallace, shown here with her second husband, Frank Wallace, was my paternal great-grandmother and a friend of Lib's. Hattie Killian has just been released from the hospital after her hysterectomy and is battling cancer. Her aunt, Jenny Harper, shown in the back left of this picture, is staying with Hattie while she recuperates. So she stopped at Lib's to get a pattern to do some needlework. The women who stop at Lib's each day do needlework and visit or do church and lodge work too. Mary Ann was in a while, and also Jenny. She had her shot today. Hazel called. She said she would be in this evening. Mary Newhouse is another neighbor who often runs errands for Lib. Jenny Wade is Lib's daughter-in-law, married to her oldest son, Wayne. And Hazel Cobb is Jenny's daughter and Lib's granddaughter. Hazel is married to Glenn Cobb, and they are farmers west of town. Hazel and Glenn were the ones who left Lib's Diaries to the History Center. Trace McDonald stopped a little while. She said that Mrs. Dansdale helps at Carson's, does the housework. He does the cooking. Mrs. Dansdale works by the hour. Theresia or Trace McDonald was the mother of Wade McDonald, Cleopa Roddick, Alta Lillis, and their sister Theresia Lorraine McDonald, who passed at age 2. Trace McDonald works as a housekeeper for Father Dugan at the Catholic Rectory. Her maiden name was Kelly, and she was from Millersburg. Rethel Dansdale was married to Milo or Mick Dansdale, and they lived in a rental across the street. They were the parents of Theresa Green from Keswick and Jean Mullen from Millersburg and their sisters. Rethel Dansdale is working for Mr. and Mrs. Wilbur C. Carson in the house across the street to the west. They are elderly, and Mrs. Carson has many health issues. Belle Carson, Pearl Warner, and W.C. Carson are shown in this picture. Hazel brought us some cranberry salad and some whipped cream, snowballs. Ruth Bursler brought a chicken and eggs, $1.70. I gave Hazel some pears. Ruth Bursler is the sister of Lib's friend Hattie Killian. Lib is always looking for fresh food and also is generous with her own crops. Saturday, October 22nd, 1950. A little cooler and some cloudy. I suppose our nice weather is almost over. Russell went with Art Carter and someone else to the river today. Russell Wade is Lib's youngest son, and she lives in his house with him. Art Carter owns the local dairy and delivers milk. Mrs. Bolts went from here to church. I asked her to come for dinner, which she did. Mrs. Kuhneman was here a while in the p.m. She is expecting her daughter soon from New Mexico. Mrs. Elizabeth Kuhneman, age 77, is the widow of the late newspaper publisher William J. Kuhneman, who published the North English Record for 30 years. Their daughter, the late Mary Dorothy Geiger, who died in 1940, was the wife of Dr. U.S. or Ulysses Simpson Geiger, who lived in the big house across the street from the History Center where the parking lot is now. Mrs. Kuhneman's other children were Hubertine Williamson and William Nicholas Kuhneman. Mrs. Lizzie Geiger Bolts is 89 years old and often comes to eat with Lib and Russell. She was the aunt of Dr. U.S. Geiger. This house was the home of Dr. U.S. Geiger on the left, and the W.C. Carson home is on the right. Evelyn was here a while, and Kathy too. Her hair is getting so long, makes her look so different from others her age. She is sure cute. Evelyn Kurtz is Lib's young married granddaughter. And Kathy Kurtz is Lib's 2.5-year-old great-granddaughter. Kathy is now one of our faithful listeners. I read after my company left, sorted the clothes and got them ready to send. Lib sends their laundry out to be done as she no longer is able to handle that chore. Russell came home, no fish. He said they didn't bite because the wind was from the north. It is quite cold this evening. Russell brought in some plants I had on the porch before he went away. I wrote to Anna. Jenny was here a while, then left to go to the show. Anna Cray is Lib's only daughter, who is married to Richard Cray and lives in South Texas. And the show that Jenny was going to would have been at the Orpheum Theater downtown. Don Castile and Ethel Donahue were married today at the Methodist parsonage just after noon. Bob Castile and Ethel Castile, shown here in a picture from that day. Ethel's maiden name was Morse. Bob and Ethel Castile were longtime business owners in the English Valleys community, with many remembering their grocery stores and bakery. Their daughters were Maxine McDonald, Marianne Gibson, and our listener, Marilyn Romine. October 23rd, 1950. Cool, but not awful cold at all. Russell got up early to weigh turkeys for Romine. Scott Romine says that Mr. Romine with the turkeys was either his uncle or his father, William Romine, who was a turkey farmer at Kinross, and the father of Scott, Jeff, Mark, and Joy Romine, who all attended English Valleys. Russell was weighing the turkeys on the nifty scale that a person could drive on at the south door of the Home Lumber Company. In this picture, William Romine is on the right, and the other men are, from left, James Kaiser, William Reese, Dale Mikesell, and Marvin Blaylock, who were all on the school board. Got dinner ready. Flossie was here. She had dinner uptown but sat down with us. Molly is getting her teeth taken care of. Went to Kelly at Sigourney to have them extracted. Dr. Schulenthaler will make her plate. Molly Cheney Claypool is Flossie's mother. And Dr. A.C. Schulenthaler was the local dentist. I sent to Kitchen Club for candy leaflets and thermometers for Jenny and I. Maud came in. She said Lee Carter got his call today to report for duty. He just got back Saturday from his honeymoon. I believe he is to go November 10th. Not sure. Maud Claypool is a neighbor and married to Lib's nephew, Ray Claypool. Lee Carter is shown in this picture. We told his story a few weeks back. Lee received a Purple Heart in Korea. Salvation Army couple selling papers, 15 cents. I bought one. Easy way to get them on their way, and it helps some, I hope. Mary Newhouse and Trace McDonald were here for a few minutes. Russell talked to Earl Dennison about putting the electric cable under the floor of the back room from the cellar. He thought it could be done. Is to come in the morning to investigate. He is awfully busy. Earl Dennison was married to Maud Hall, and they were the parents of Janice and Darlene, and Wilford, Dial, Larry, and Jean Dennison. Here are Maud and Ethel in the 1954 Centennial Parade. Received a card from Marvin Geringer this evening. He is in training at San Antonio, Texas in the Air Force. Marvin Geringer was my uncle and Lib's great-nephew. This picture is after he got to Japan, and he is with North English Airman Laverne or Squirt Wilkerson and J.B. Miller. And here's a picture of Marvin in later years. A case of scarlet fever in town. Huber boy, Don Swink's stepson. Jack Huber was a member of the class of 1961 and was 7 years old in 1950. His parents were David Franklin Huber and Eloise Hall Huber. His father died in service and his mother was married to Don Swink. His half-siblings are Donna Hospodowski, Vicki Ayers, and Larry Swink. Jack Huber was married to Maxine Morrison, and they had one son, David Huber. The English Valleys History Center has been operating on Main Street in North English since 2006. The center operates a museum, monthly programming, a community coffee shop, and provides meeting spaces for groups and organizations. These include family and class reunions, celebrations, gatherings, and club meetings. The History Center offers all of its services by donations only. It does not have annual memberships like many other historical organizations and relies largely on private and community donations. It is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and donations are tax deductible. Your support of the History Center would help continue its operations and provide a valuable community asset. Please send donations to the English Valleys History Center, P.O. Box 70, North English, Iowa 52316. Souvenir from Green Valley School. Last week I showed this souvenir from Green Valley School where Lib Wade taught before she was married. It says, Souvenir, School District Number 9, Green Valley, Iowa County, Iowa, 1897-1898. Presented by Libby Claypool, teacher. Directors D.R. Wade, Al Walton, and J.D. Miller. Lib had quite a class. 34 students are named. Mary Wade, Ida Jones, Willie Wade, Jay Hall, Cora Wade, Elvina Zilmer, John Zilmer, Chester Little, Tom Hall, Pearl Wade, Ray Walton, Tom Moore, Fannie Wood, Herman Zilmer, Chad Hall, Letha Bucher, Joni McCarter, Percy Little, Bernie McDowell, Dora Wade, R.G. McDowell, Jay Moore, Mary Zilmer, Jess Long, Louis Zilmer, Elmer Long, Eliza Moffett, Mae McCarter, Lauren Moffett, Frank Wade, Glenn Bucher, Roy Miller, Winnie Moore, and Jesse Wade. I am planning 3 vacations this spring, so the program schedule will be cut back a little. Next week, I am traveling with my childhood friend Helen Kirkpatrick Schwietert from Colesburg, Iowa, and Lake Placid, Florida. We will be going on a bus to Chicago, then a plane to Washington, D.C. I am excited as I have never been to our nation's capital. So we will not have a broadcast on April 11th, and possibly the next week too. We will see how it goes. And speaking of my friend and classmate Helen, I thought I would share this cute little article from 1958 that I found while I was researching. Several of my listeners are mentioned. Helen Kirkpatrick has birthday. Mrs. Keith Kirkpatrick entertained at a party Tuesday morning, May 27th, in honor of their little daughter Helen's 3rd birthday. The guests were Edward Hall, Linda and David Claypool, Kim Morse, Marilyn Sue Castile, and Jill Smith, all of North English. Also Cheryl Regsager of Wellman. Luncheon guests the same day were Mrs. Chris Schwarzendruber and Loris of Wellman and Mrs. Esther Kirkpatrick. I did not meet Helen for a few more years, 2 more years later in kindergarten. And here we are 5 years later. This is some of the class of 1973 in 2nd grade. I am 4th to the left in the top row, and Helen is 2nd from the right on the bottom row. These pictures were given by Doris Lockridge's family, and we've been working this spring to try and identify all the children in all these pictures. Larry McCarter from the class of 1961 and his late wife Colleen Miller McCarter, also from the class of 1961, were about 12 years older than me, so I did not know them growing up. Larry has been down several times recently bringing donations for the History Center. I asked him if he had a picture of his aunt Ethel McCarter, as I talk about her quite often in Lib's Diaries. He said he talks to his cousin Linda McCarter Schulte from the class of 1960, so he will ask her if she has a picture of her parents and her aunts. He also knew where Ethel and Max McCarter lived in 1950. He said it was the second house east of Beanie Cox in the 2nd floor apartment, which would be 216 East Oak Street. Larry said that he attended Hawkeye Rural School west of town when he was little. I left the History Center last Saturday and ventured down to the Main Street Pub and Grub to try their lunch special of orange chicken and rice, and ran into a distant cousin on the Claypool side, Andy Weber from Sigourney. Andy was working and had stopped for lunch. He said he watches my broadcast on the big screen on Sunday mornings. He thanked me for the story about his aunt, Marion Claypool. When the Weber kids came to North English from Kinross when they were little, they stopped at the home of their grandparents, Roy and Gail Claypool, where they often visited with Marion. And he remembered going to see Addie Kirkham, his great aunt, too. I told him I also remembered Addie Kirkham, as we had several little stops we made to various friends and relatives around North English when we were young children. I wanted to show you this picture of us when we were children uptown at Geringer Standard Service Station in North English, across from the Home Lumber Company in 1960. I am not in it, as I was likely at school, but here is Lou, Chip, and Rita Geringer, who are next in line after me. There is a motorcycle parked off to the edge of the driveway. My Uncle Chuck Geringer said when he first saw this picture 4 years ago that he couldn't see enough of it to tell if it was his motorcycle or not. Jim Newman from the class of 1957 thinks it belongs to Dale or Scoop Miller. Here is a neat picture of Dale or Scoop Miller from the class of 1957 on his bike. Scoop and Uncle Chuck were close friends and married 2 sisters, Jan and Joanne Gerard from Millersburg. And here's a picture of Chuck Geringer from the class of 1958, in case you had forgotten how good looking he is. The next History Center program will be on Sunday, April 26th at 2 p.m. by Roy R. Behrens, and is entitled Iowa's Camouflage Experts. That's a topic I hadn't heard anything about. I'm interested to hear what that's all about. Mark Claypool from Sigourney said, Jackie, each week the history that you bring to life is absolutely extraordinary and your dedication is outstanding. I'll be over again sometime in the near future. We love it when people come for coffee time and my broadcasts on Saturday morning. Coffee and treats start at 7 a.m. and the broadcast is at 9. The center is open till 10 or until we decide to leave. I broadcast from the front room, but we don't upload until the broadcast is actually finished. Connie Brubaker from South English said, "Thanks, Jackie. You so are lucky to find photos. I only have one photo of my dad when he was young, plus there is a photo of him in Donald and Elta Garrett's book when my dad was a freshman. Also enjoyed the photo of Amy Hervey today. Elroy and my mom were first cousins. Thank you for all the work you put into researching. It is amazing." Vicki Johnson from California said, "Thank you, Jackie, for today's broadcast. I enjoyed hearing about Libby's birthday. I am eager to hear how she likes her electric stove." Cindy Weber from Kyoto said, "Thanks so much for all the informative information." Pam Cavanaugh Shield from Cedar Rapids said, "Another great episode, Jackie. You have a way of bringing the participants alive from years ago. Thank you for the time and effort you put into narrating our North English history and also the history of the and to the History Center and on all the board members. The next alumni luncheon will be June 1st, 2026 at 11:30 a.m. at the Main Street Pub and Grub. Please contact Alice Dramer or Linda Carter for seating. We are also interested in learning about historical English Valleys items that you might wish to donate to the History Center. Please contact Dave Jackson, Scott Romine, or any board member to donate.
Nice job, Jackie. That's a wrap.
Thank you, Alan.
Get shut off.
I don't know.